Everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me know if everything's working good. If you can hear me, you can see me. We are back in Cabo, and it is Promar Ahi USA Tuesday. We got the great Michael Folks joining us like we do every Tuesday. And Marley is so happy we're back in town. He won't leave my shoulder. Kelly Girl came in here, tried to hold him, but he does not want to not be with Dad. He's just having a good time. He missed me. Hey, gang, I want to thank you all for coming out to the Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Festival. That was an incredible event. I can't thank you all enough. What a wonderful time. It was so much fun. Let's bring Michael in here and get this show started. Welcome, Michael.
Hey, David. Hello, everyone. Good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my gosh, buddy, you missed it. I'm sorry you were sick. There were so many people there.
It was from the pictures and all the posts, it looked like it was just an absolutely amazing show.
It was pretty incredible. The great Mike Lum, who used to run the other show, came up to me in the middle of the event, and he was like, David, we never had this many people at the other event, ever. And I was like, that's incredible. I was out in the very back in the tent, and it was hard for people to find us. They found us, but just the mass volume of people, Michael, that most of the time you couldn't even see the ground.
It was just it was amazing. Some of the drone shots and stuff that I saw that they had out there, that was just it was, and everybody I've talked to that went said it was just an amazing show. They had an absolutely great time.
Yeah, it was seminars all day, all over the place, different stages set up everywhere, and just a plethora of the best speakers in the business. It was so much fun. And there was so much other stuff to do. The falconry, the Jay's prehistoric pets,
Yep.
The food, the Hawaiian shaved ice. It was
Trout pond.
The trout pond. So many children came up to me and told me about the trout they caught. It was just so much fun.
It's just, I can't, no one deserves it more than Bill DePriest and the team that he's put together and what they've done and how they've treated people from day one, from the opening show until now, the biggest fishing show in Southern California, no question, possibly on the West Coast. And they still treat every single vendor and every single customer as though there's something very special.
And that's kind of the theme of the show. When you would go around and talk to vendors, I talked to a lot of vendors, especially the ones in the tent that were around me. Yep. And that's what they would all say is when they usually go to a trade show, they feel like they are a client. They just don't get the love and the respect. They said the most amazing thing about this was the way that Bill went around and thanked each of them for coming to his show.
Yep. And he does that to every single vendor, and he makes every single person that comes through the gate feel like they're welcome and how much he appreciates us being there. And that's an attitude I've never seen before in any trade show.
You know? Yeah, it was pretty special.
From Miami to Las Vegas, nobody treats you like that. Conventions basically are just like all about the books, and Bill's all about the people. So it's just, he deserves it. His team deserves it. They've done a phenomenal job, and I just hope this is the beginning of years and years of the PCS.
Well, I don't know if you saw or not, but they announced at the end of the show on Sunday afternoon that because of the massive amount of exhibitors that were unable to exhibit because there's just no more space left, they opened up the Del Mar show, and we're going to have a show in Del Mar next year.
Really?
Oh, yeah, and it's already half sold out. So I'll tell everybody that's watching, you better get in on this as soon as possible, or you're going to be left behind like all those that got in late in Orange County and didn't make it. Yep, he's added the Del Mar show.
That's pretty amazing.
And to think about it, Michael, you and I were there on day one. We were there. Pretty much it was about the stage and your booth, and then there was probably 10 or 15 exhibitors. It was pretty amazing on the very beginning.
If that, there was one Quonset hut, and there was just two little rows of vendors and our big video screens and a couple of Ford trucks, and that was it. I mean, it was what he's done and how he's grown that, and it's just, yeah, it's an amazing event. He's done a great job.
Yeah, and any of you that weren't able to join us out there, we missed you. I promise you we missed you, but my goodness, it was so much fun. Just fun, fun, fun. Least the thing and I don't want to talk about myself, but all the followers that follow me, Michael, there's just unbelievable amount of people came to our booth and just thanked us so much for the silly little show you and I do Tuesdays. So many people love it. Shows we do on Monday with all the guides, the shows we do Wednesday with Bill Varney, the Thursday Kelly Girl, they loved everything. And the special guest Friday is just, I could just feel the love all day, every day. It was just so much fun. There was
just it's if we think about, Dave, the road that you've taken to get you to this point where you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and your perseverance and your determination, and it really just comes out to just being nothing but your pure passion for the sport, and how you just would never let go of that passion, and you just found a way to communicate from, telling somebody, here's how you tie a boat to a dock, a simple knot, to, here's how you dock your boat. I mean, the simplest of techniques and instructions that you've just been continually putting out. It's been amazing. I tip my hat to you, sir. I tip my hat to you, sir.
Thank you very, very much, Michael. Bill Varney, it was so fun to see everybody gather around you and talk to you, and they just love you. They just absolutely love you. And everybody, we're getting tons of comments over here, and I appreciate everybody. We had a great follower, fan, whatever you want to call it, appreciation night Saturday night. Kelly and I had a bunch of burgers and a barbecue, and everybody came out. We had over 50 people show up to the barbecue, and so many good people just sharing all their love and everything that they've learned from us. It just blows my mind. Like you said, who'd have ever thought 10 years ago the industry wouldn't even talk to me?
No, you were the outlaw. You were considered the outlaw, and now you're leading the pack, baby. Leading the pack, telling the truth, unedited, you always speak from your heart, and there's never a question of where Dave Hansen stands.
Yeah, that's for damn sure.
It's like the Orange Man. I mean, people either hate him or love him, but you know where he stands, and you know what he stands for and what he believes in. And you're the same way. There's no question where you stand, and there's no question about your love and your passion for the sport. Everything else is irrelevant.
Thank you very, very much. That makes me feel good inside. And then, Michael, so many people came up and were talking about the history of sport fishing, and they saw your pictures in the booth, and they grabbed the postcards, and guys would come up with their friends and go, have you seen the history of, have you watched this show yet? Have you watched this? And then they would go down the rabbit hole, and then everybody in the booth would start talking about it. There was just so much positivity and love going on for all of us, for all the members. It was just insane. And like Tim Ogilvy said, even though I put out, I think there was 30 tickets in the booth for the haters, none of them showed up. It's the weirdest damn thing.
None of the haters showed up. I love it. It's like everybody hides behind their keyboards when they're haters. But when they have to step up with the light, they don't show up. So, like you said, you just don't even pay attention to the haters anymore. It's a waste of time.
Oh, they don't waste my time. They allow me to make a really good living.
Yep. Yeah, very cool. And doing it your way and from the location that you love to do it from. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I mean, look at this technology. I mean, come on. A couple of years ago, you and I couldn't even turn on a computer.
Yeah, we got to thank the great Elliot Andrews for that. That's for damn sure. Elliot hung out there in the booth on Fridays and Saturday. It was kind of cool for him to be there because he left in the middle of the night on Sunday morning.
Saturday night, they were packing up all day Saturday. I went by to say hi to them. They were getting all the movers were coming in, and picking up all their furniture, and they were leaving at like 4 a.m. to move to their new place in Las Vegas. I guess they got there, everything's safe and sound. Eric is happy, and I think they're really thrilled. It's a beautiful new spot. So,
yeah, they got to go for a swim in their new pool yesterday, so they're very happy, and they're getting settled in just fine.
I wouldn't know what to do without him.
No,
inside the bite.
We could barely turn on the show every day if it wasn't for Elliot.
Exactly.
I wouldn't know how to set up any of it. And so many of our members and friends and followers got to meet the great Elliot Andrews at the show, and we made some great videos. And him and I wandered around and made great videos. It's so funny. There's another website, that people go on to get their negative feel and listen. And the amount of negative stuff going on over there, stories about me and what I did at the show and how no one showed up to any of my seminars. And
what are they talking about?
Bill put me in the back of the tent in the back corner because that's where I deserve to be, because nobody wants to see me.
You like being in that rabbit hole.
I told him to put me right there so that everybody would go to the tent.
It's a great spot. It drives everybody all the way through the entire conventions, all the fairgrounds to get to your stage.
It's so funny to see all these people talk though, but like that, Michael, but none of them made a video. They all saw all this stuff going on, but no one made a video. No one took a picture. They all, just like when they said no one came to Trump's inauguration, but I don't know. There was quite a few people, Lisa, Tim Ogilvy, Don Stanley. I don't even know. We couldn't even begin to go through the list, Michael. And the really amazing thing is all the young people. The young people that came to get their picture taken and wanted to talk to me and do fun stuff. And it was just blows my mind, because I know I got all you guys, all us 65, 70-year-old men. We all love me, but to see the young people come out and just love what we're doing, it's so fun.
It's inspiring, isn't it, to see that youth?
Yeah, and they get it, and they know how important it is to fish, and they're out there doing it every day. It's pretty amazing.
Yep, absolutely.
Pretty amazing. But hey, guys, Promar had some phenomenal deals. Okuma had some phenomenal deals. Deckhand Sports and all of our sponsors that were there. They just want to also make sure that I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. There was some record-breaking sales going on. It's over there at Deckhand Sports. He had one of the most phenomenal 4 days he's ever had in his history of business when he was in the baseball business, and now that he's in the sport fishing business. He never saw anything like what he saw there. Okuma was sold out of they had 50 rail rods that you would get a free rail rod if you bought them at Kyra. On day 2, Michael, they had 2 rods left, and by the first 15 minutes of the second day, they were out of those rail rods. The people came out of the woodworks for the deals. And then Promar, they were just busier than heck, running out of product all day. The overwhelming amount of people, no one saw it coming. We all talked about it, but no one saw it coming. It was insane.
Yeah, it has become the epicenter for the kickoff of Southern California sport fishing, no question. And having them move down to Del Mar next year, that's going to be awesome. A couple weeks after the opening show, I guess.
Yep.
March.
Yeah, it's all going to happen in March, the first week of March, the PCS show in Orange County, and then the third week of March down in Del Mar. And John Stanley, you're going to love that. It's right there at your back door, all you San Diego people. Yep. How wonderful is that? And basically, Bill's doing that for you guys in San Diego. He doesn't want you to have to do that 1.5-hour drive up there. It's pretty insane.
Yeah. Thanks, Robert. I am feeling a lot better. I appreciate that. That stomach flu is the worst. So,
and we're all very happy you didn't come to the show and give it to all of us. So thank you.
That was one of the main reasons for not showing up. It was like I could have gutted it out, but I just didn't want to. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Everybody I know that's had it's been pretty miserable. So stay healthy. Use your hand sanitizers.
Yeah, for sure. So Michael, I see some stuff going on social media now. I mean, we went saltwater for the last 7 months. We were talking about saltwater every day, but now I see there's
We
a big influence onto the largemouth bass fishery over there. Can we talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, I'm fascinated by the freshwater aspects of the film. You know, we've talked about this before, Dave, but when we started out, it was going to be the birth of big game fishing, which is the first marlin, first swordfish, first tuna ever caught on a rod and reel. We're all taken right here off Catalina Island. So that was the emphasis going in. And once I started, putting all those pieces together, it dawned on me that, obviously we don't want to just limit it to Southern California. So we spread it out across the country, and we spread it out across multiple species. And that's part of the reason why the film evolved from, a 90-minute movie into a 12-hour documentary series. We cover every aspect of fly fishing, bass fishing, freshwater, saltwater, tournaments, recreational, everything. And I guess a vast majority of the monies that are spent within the sport fishing industry, retail-wise, are spent on freshwater, primarily bass. So we thought, let's do a little bass push here. So the last couple of weeks, Elliot's put together some really good promotions to help, introduce the bass segments of the history of sport fishing. But lo and behold, David, we've had one order off the bass stuff. Nobody's buying the bass. Nobody's interested in the bass stuff, at least not here on the West Coast. So as we try to expand the marketing and get out into some of the other regions of the country, I think bass is going to be probably one of the most popular 2 or 3 episodes that we have. But no one on the West Coast that, recognizes you and recognizes the brand and inside sport fishing, it seems to be real interested in bass. So we're kind of we're refocusing back on our West Coast stuff here, as well as some of the East Coast stuff. But we'll keep our social media targeted towards Southern California here for the next few weeks and see how that goes. We're really trying to get this thing off the ground, guys. So if you're on the fence and you haven't bought the series yet, or you've thought about it, it would really help us right now if you could step up and show your support. Grab the series. You can buy it for $50 for the year, and just it's been a struggle, to be honest with you, Dave. It's been a struggle. It's been a lot of work, and we get really good feedback. We get really good response. We get people saying, "Oh my God, this guy wrote me the other day and brought a tear to my eye." He said, "I just want to thank you for giving me the ability to give my father the best gift I've ever given him, and that's a pass to the history of sport fishing." So I thought that was just beautiful. It sent chills up my spine. And so anyway, that's kind of where we're going. It looks like we may be approved on Amazon Prime. So we're working with them about trying to get the series up on Amazon as well. And it'll be a transactional situation, electronic sell-through, similar to what we're doing on the streaming right now. So the pricing will be the same, but we're trying to make it more convenient and be able to make it available just on a click there through Amazon as well. So.
And then we got a lot of people watching, gang. And like Michael was saying, if you could help out, even just those of you that have already got the series and you enjoyed it so much, if you hit the share button on it, whatever platform you're watching us on, believe me, there's a lot of people in everyone's sphere of influence that would love to watch this docuseries. And even if you don't like fishing, let's just say you're just not into fishing, but you're into the United States of America, there's so much stuff in this docuseries that's going to just go, you're going to go, what? How is that? What are you talking about?
Fishing. Yeah.
No, it's crazy. The amount of people that have watched it and called me afterwards and gone, Dave, I can't even believe that was going on back in the beginning of the United States of America, where they were writing the Declaration of Independence in the oldest still running fishing club in the world. These guys hidden there and wrote this Declaration of Independence because, like you said, they would have got hung if they got caught.
Yeah, the guys that wrote the Declaration of Independence were hanging out in the Schuylkill Fishing Club. That was their hideout. That was their clubhouse, where they actually got together under the guise of a fishing club to write the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. So our forefathers in 1732 started writing the Declaration of Independence, and that's out of a fishing club that is still operating today, longest running, continually operative social fishing club in the English speaking language. So yeah, that's one of the things that we uncovered, that of all the stuff that we discovered and all the research we did and all the deep dives into the history, the one thing that really stands out to me is that our forefathers, George Washington and Patrick Henry, and every name that you can recognize on the Declaration of Independence, they all wrote it and signed that under the guise of a fishing club. So
it's just so overwhelming when you get into this thing and you get to hear about all the different things that went into developing sport fishing in the United States of America. A lot of stuff came out of World War II. When we came out of World War II, all the men and women, they just were like way into fishing, way into being outdoors, some of the old vintage stuff that you show, you just go, wow, look at all the people that were into this. And then we had Steve Carson on the show, and he was showing pictures of what the beaches used to look like. We think there's people at the beach nowadays. Back after World War II, the amount of people that went outside and did stuff will blow your mind. But you don't get to know any of this stuff. You're not going to see this on any of the silly shows on Netflix. You're getting a real raw what happened to the United States of America after one of the most unbelievable events in the history of the United States, World War II. And they had all this surplus boats and all these surplus sailboats and all this stuff that they didn't know what to do with. So they started putting barges out, and you get into all this stuff when you're listening to what Michael's put together. And then the way he tells the story, you all know, you watched Inside Sport Fishing, you know how he puts together a story, and you're just on the edge of your seat going, wow, I had no idea about all the different things. Even though my family's been in the industry since 1947, I didn't know about all the different things, Michael. And the way you put it together is so eloquent, and it's so bitching for people to see.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, David. Thanks. I appreciate the kind words, and in my heart of hearts, I feel like we've done a really comprehensive job and really done the sport right in what we've put together. John just wrote in that said he just bought the series. Thank you, John. And you're a little confused, but it says, yeah, it is a subscription base. But now that you bought it this morning, I guess, or just now, you can go back in and cancel that right now, cancel that subscription, and you still have full access to it for a year. So you sign up for a year, and it's because the streaming service that we're on only allows subscription options. That's one of the reasons we're going over to Prime Video, because you can actually purchase it on Prime as well. But sign up, register, and that'll give you full access for a year. And you can go ahead and cancel it today, and it'll still be valid for the rest of the year. So we're not trying to con anybody out of those, what are they, auto payment type things, but it's the only structure that they offer us over there was a subscription base. So you got it for a year, and you can cancel at any time.
But then also understand that there's all kinds of different things coming down the pipe where Michael will be adding, maybe he won't, but the plan is working with Elliot. He's going to be adding some of that vintage footage that we all grew up watching on Inside Sport Fishing. And you got so many different things that are available besides the history of fishing. When you become that member, you're going to get access to so much stuff like the tribute to tuna, which if any of you have never,
that's worth the price. That's worth the price of admission right there alone, isn't it?
Oh, every penny of it. Like I told everybody a couple weeks ago when we were talking, I watched it for 15 minutes before I knew it was you. I was like so into it and watching those guys when men were men fishing in the racks. And a lot of people came up to me and talked about that at the show, Michael, and how you couldn't get a kid today to go do that.
That was brutal. Those guys were fishing with their bare hands, cane poles, guts, and determination.
And they'd be inside sitting at the table, and then the bell would ding and they would all run out, not even hesitate. They wanted to work. They wanted to do it. You think about today, you can't even get them to get off the couch for 5 seconds to take out the trash because they're in the middle of their video game. It's an amazing history of our industry, which I talked about a lot on stage. I kind of let it flow because now we're at a point in this social media world where we're kind of almost to the point of Donald too big to fail. And I just called the industry out and was like, you guys aren't behind any of us. You guys aren't behind us. You're not. The industry should be behind the history of sport fishing. The industry should be behind saving fishing. The industry should be 100% behind this docuseries that Michael made, because when you watch this, you're going to go, oh my God, there's so much more to going out and catching a sand bass than going out and catching a sand bass. And then you dive down the rabbit hole and you're starting to look around and you're going, yeah, this is definitely worth saving. Fishing is such a integral part of so many people's lives, and it saved so many of our lives. Michael and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for fishing.
Absolutely. It was the grounding. I don't know what to say. It kept me sane through all my youth and all my teenage years, and not knowing what I was doing or having any clue about what living was all about. But I knew as soon as I picked up my rod, I was going to be okay. And I've fished since the time I could walk. I remember when I was a kid, my grandparents, my mom and dad taught me to fish. And in fact, I don't know if I told you the story, Dave, but I lived in a little place called Radford, Virginia, which is in rural Southwest Virginia. And my grandparents had a little house up on a hill, and about 2 blocks away was a neighbor's house, and they had a little pond, small pond, probably no bigger than the size of a Volkswagen and no deeper than a foot deep. And they had goldfish in there. And I'd go down there every day with my big plastic, rod and reel and a big plastic hook. And the hook was bigger than the goldfish. And I'd sit there all day and try to get these goldfish to bite this plastic hook. And if I rubbed some Velveeta cheese around it, they'd nibble on it all day. So that was my youth, from probably 4 or 5 years old all the way through till today. I mean, fishing has always been the one thing in my life that grounded me to my soul.
And another thing I wanted to say, Michael, you think about all these different Tyson fight and the UFC fights and all that stuff. You got to pay to watch a fight for the same amount of money you're going to pay for this docuseries, which is actually going to change your life. You watch some guy beat the hell out of another guy, that's over. You don't even think about it anymore. You watch the history of sport fishing for the exact same price, and it's going to change your life. And then you're going to go out there and share it with all your friends and family. And you said something really cool 15 minutes ago or so, how guys are buying this as a gift for their parents or buying this for a gift for their kids. It's just one of those things that until you watch it, you're not going to understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's unique. Tim just said fishing is the best video game a kid can have. You're absolutely right, Timmy.
Yeah, Tim Ogilvy, you're absolutely right. And I just want you all to understand, when you guys rent a video on Amazon or you watch Netflix, and Netflix is up to $29 a month now, you're going to get the history of sport fishing for just a couple more dollars, and you got it forever, and it's yours. You guys got no problem spending your money on garbage that you don't even get anything out of. I promise you, from the second you hit play on the very first, you're going to be in. You're just going to, the very first part of it, if it doesn't bring tears to your eyes, you probably really don't have a heart.
Yep.
And then it just goes from there, and you just go down the rabbit hole, and you're locked onto your TV, and the next thing you know, you binge watched 6-8 hours of the thing. You're like, how did that happen? It's 2:00 in the morning. I'm still going. And on top of all that, gang, those of you that have been in the industry for a little while, 20, 30, 40 years, you grew up watching Michael Fulks. You grew up listening to his voice. What you're doing when you purchase this film is you're helping Michael and his wife, Kim. You're actually helping them by buying this, you're helping somebody that you know. When you rent a film on Netflix or Amazon, you have no idea who those people are. I'm sorry to put you on the spot like that, Michael, but it's kind of.
I appreciate it, David. It really is. This has been a labor of love for me for the past 5 years. The original concept was to produce the film and then turn it over to a big distributor and let them try to sell it and distribute it. But with the way the Hollywood is right now and the way people are consuming their entertainment, the game's all changed. It's a wild, wild west. It's a big frontier out there right now, and nobody's really sure what and how are things coming together and being streamed. So, what we're trying to do has only been done a couple of times before. What they basically call it an affiliate program, where you get people that are affiliated with fishing, that love to fish, that want to be a part of fishing, to actually subscribe to something like this. So it's an uphill battle. It's been a struggle. Somebody said the other day the lowest point is at the ebb of the tide, and that's kind of where we are right now. We're at the ebb of that tide, and as it turns to start coming in, and a rising tide will raise all ships. So I appreciate all the help. I appreciate your kind words, and I think you've hit on a couple of really important things about the series, Dave. Is that it's not just about fishing. It's about America. It's about the American culture, about our history as a nation, our history as individuals, and how this sport has brought so many people together from so many different walks of lives, and how it's touched the lives of millions of people and continues to touch the lives of millions of people, and that it's under threat today by some of the extremists. They want to abolish the sport. We went through it last month with the sand bass. It's just death through 1,000 cuts, just one more knife cut to take away the barbed sand bass. So there's a very coordinated effort nationwide to abolish the sport. They don't think mankind should interact with nature in any other way other than being an observer. And we've talked about this, Dave, over and over again. You cannot hurt a fishery with a rod, a reel, and a piece of string. You can't do it. I don't care how good of an angler you are. You cannot hurt a fishery with a rod, a reel, and a piece of string. But it's the thousands of miles of long lines and high seas gill nets and deep water trawls that are unregulated and unsustainable wholesale slaughter of our resources. And that's what we have to put a stop to. That's what we have to make sure that our commercial fleet in the United States is the finest run, most heavily regulated, and most law-abiding and aware commercial fleet in the world. Our guys know that they need to sustain the industry. They need to sustain the fisheries in order for their families and their kids and their grandkids to perhaps carry on their legacy. So our commercial guys do it the right way. Our guys, I tip my hat to them because they are out there day in and day out, like you said, from the guys in the racks back in the 1940s to the guys in the seiners today. They're doing it right. Dolphin safe nets, and they're regulating their catch. So our coastal, inshore, nearshore coastal waters are highly regulated. Our commercial fleet is highly respected around the world, and they're doing a great job. It's just the rogue third world countries that don't give a crap about the oceans. They don't care about sustainability. They just want profit. So, part of the film is to hopefully educate some of our lawmakers about the fact that the sport is different than a commercial activity. And we've tried to weave that story throughout the whole film series and talking about, what we can do as individuals to help protect the sport as we move forward. And everybody that showed up, called in on the Sea Bass Committee hearing a couple weeks ago, that's the kind of action that we have to take. And thank you guys, every one of you, for taking the time to write those letters and let those people know that we're a contingency to be reckoned with.
Right. Well, we just showed them that they didn't, like I shared every single day at the PCS show, what they saw happen at that meeting. They've never seen that before. We rallied the people together, Michael, you, me, Bill Varney, everybody. We sat here on this show for 2.5 months talking about we the people. And when we the people showed up, we the people scared the heck out of them. They didn't know what to do that day. They were like babbling idiots sitting up there. They didn't know which way to go or what to say. And I'm really in my heart, like I was telling everybody at the show, I think that we turn the corner now. We see if we unite, like NRA was in the tent with us, and I kept talking about them. The NRA, they're united.
Yes, sir.
We, the people of the sport fishing industry, we're not united. We don't got, like I just said a few minutes ago, Michael, the industry is not standing behind your film. The industry is not standing behind your saltwater guide. The industry is not standing behind CCA. The industry doesn't, I don't know why. I don't know what the pushback is, but it's just like, let them have it. Let them take more and more and more. We, the people, we don't have to let them take anything else from us again. It's, that day is gone.
We just keep fighting. We just keep fighting like you did last month on the sand bass. You were relentless against that onslaught of a committee that's not elected. You know, they're not publicly elected officials. They're appointed, and they're appointed by some extremists that have a lot of money that said, this is the way you're going to vote. This is what you're going to say. And this is how you're going to say it. And you're fighting that. I'm fighting it. And I think individuals like ourselves that are unwilling to sacrifice what we love because, you know, there's just, we're not willing to do it. And to get the, you know, I don't know what the words are, but to have support from the industry for this film and for what you're doing and for the information you're putting out daily and what this film has and what it can possibly do to help change lawmakers across the country, to not have the support of the Shimanos and the Daiwas and some of the people that I just, you know, I mean, AFCO and those guys, Mark Mills at Daiwas, they've all been very helpful. You know, they've all said, here's some footage, you know, you can use this, feel free to do this. Bill's doing a great interview. Frank's given a great interview. I mean, we've had good support from the industry internally, if you will, but we haven't had the broad-based support that I think the industry, that I feel like this film truly deserves industry support. And I'm just not sure how about going about getting it. And, you know, I'm so thankful to see that they're stepping up for you, David, now that you've got, you know, you brought Okuma in and you've got Promar and you've got some big names. And that's the type of support that the industry needs to give, because you're not selling a particular product. And the history of sport fishing is not selling a new pair of sunglasses or a new rod or a new reel or a new hook style. It's selling about the essence of the sport. And it's talking about the love and the passion of why this sport means so much to so many Americans. And your film, excuse me, David, your show says the same thing every day. You just talk about the passion of the sport. And in today's world, there's so many alternatives. You know, the kids have so many things to do on their iPhones and their just laptops. I mean, getting a kid out and putting a rod in his hand and having him on the water and actually experiencing it, that's almost a novelty. And it was so good to see so many kids at the show following you around like a Pied Piper.
Oh, it was crazy.
It's like you never left your side.
It was crazy. Kelly Girl and I, we were talking about it last night. We just couldn't believe the amount of young people that have been involved with your saltwater guide and been watching us. And if you're watching me, then I know you're watching Michael, and I know you're watching Bill, and I know you're watching Kelly Girl. And all I'm trying to do is save the industry. Whether you like me or not,
it's irrelevant.
I don't really care. I don't care anymore. The days of me worrying about if you like me or not, well, you know, I've always been doing it my way anyway. So I don't care if you like me or not, but I do care if we have fishing for our grandkids. And I believe this docuseries is such a heavy part of that thing. If you get to understand the industry, gang. And I know we're spending the whole show talking about how important this docuseries is, but I'm on such a rush and such a high. Kelly and I came home and we're on such a high from the show and from all the love and the difference that I believe that your saltwater guide is making in the industry is just, it was shown to me and it was shown to Kelly by the outreach of all the people that we couldn't go to the bathroom without getting talked to and having so many people want to get their picture taken with me. So those of you that aren't on board, like I told them at the show, this train is hauling ass down the tracks, Michael. You either get inside or get out of the way because we're gonna run you over. So if you want to be on the outside talking crap about us, that's probably not going to work out well for your business. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's there's it's hard. I mean, it's hard. It's I think what we're trying to do, what you're doing, what I've tried to do with the history of sport fishing is truly unify, truly unify the sport. You said like the NRA was there at your booth, and the NRA has got a phenomenal organization behind it, and we don't have that. We do not have that centralized energy, and we need to have that if we're going to save the sport. So continue supporting Dave's broadcast and ASA, and CCA. I mean, CCA has been wonderful out here on the Southern California coast for us. I mean, the Coastal Conservation Association of California is just boots on the ground, taking care of business, and Turner's Outdoorsmen. There's just, people are stepping up. But I think, the more you keep preaching the truth, David, the stronger this industry is going to become. And the more support we get from the industry, it enables us to do more work. So it's really just how far do you want to expand this? And it's unlimited, but the industry, I think, really needs to step up and contribute. It's for the goodness of the whole. It's not only good for us and the ability to get the word out there, but it's good for the industry and its entirety and every individual angler. I don't know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. Gang, it's Promar Ahi USA Tuesday. We talk about Promar products all the time. We had so many great things available at the PCS show, but we're talking about the GT4 fluorocarbon here. I'm going to show a picture of it here, and you can save 15% on this product. It's an absolute incredible product. This GT4 fluorocarbon is a very, very supple fluorocarbon. The reason why is because they put it through the roller more times than any other fluorocarbon. So when it comes out of the extrusion machine, it's going to go through all the different rollers before it gets put on the spool. It's going to go through it. I think what I was told was 6 times, which everybody else runs it through the extruder machine and puts it right on the spool. It's going to go through the roller 6 times. It makes it as supple as monofilament. It makes it that easy to tie. And right now you get 15% off on your GT4 fluorocarbon. You go over to the Promar Ahi USA website. You check it out right there. There's the QR code at the bottom. If you use that QR code, you go onto their website, you'll see the GT4 fluorocarbon that I'm talking about. It's a clear fluorocarbon, very easy to tie, works very well in all applications that we talk about at your saltwater guide. If you're throwing a lure or you're throwing a bait, this GT4 fluorocarbon will not let you down. And then just by watching this show, you're going to save 15% on all the different products over at Promar. Use that QR code I just flashed up on the screen there. And then the Akara jig system that we were talking about every day at the show. What an amazing lure. And we just got some in Captain Al's hands at the show. And Justin constantly is showing everybody how good that lure works. You can get all that over at Promar Ahi. 15% off using the QR code, or go over there to the website if you're listening to us driving in your car and put in the code YSWG and the number 22, and that's going to save you 15% on all the products that Promar has. And you'll be blown away by the mass amount of products that you're using on a daily basis that you didn't even know Promar makes. So check it out. Go to their website. Look at all the great products. Just follow along on our Instagram page. You see Pablo, Justin, Al, Sonny, and myself using Promar products every single day. Don't be left behind. Don't try to find the imposters. The imposters, they're making stuff that looks like it, but it's not the stuff. You always want to go to the source, and Promar won't let you down. Check it all out. Use that QR code I have up on the screen. And Promar, thanks for all the support. You made the show incredible for all the children. The amount of stuff we gave away to kids, Michael, was mind blowing. We had at one time, I think we had 22 kids in the booth. We did the only children's seminar run by Deckhand Ryland and Deckhand Fisher. Those two young men are just starting out in their, I think they're 11 and 12 years old, and they did their very own seminar, and it was insane.
So cool.
And that's the key to this industry, gang, is getting the children involved. They're going to help us save it. If we got a bunch of kids lined up, all going fishing and all going catching, there's a very good chance we'll be able to fish when we're old. Oh, wait a minute, we're old.
Yeah, it's so cool to see the kids doing those seminars. I remember years ago in Newport, I was totally into the spotted bay bass, and these two kids cruised by in this little rowboat, and they were trolling rapalas and catching the spotties. And I got to talking to them. I said, let me jump on and film you guys. So we did a little shoot with these two 12, 13, 11-year-old kids, and they were just like little mini Frank Loprestis and Bill Pools, and just so cool watching them, how jacked up they were, running their little boat along the mooring lines and picking spotties off the mooring balls. So it was pretty cool, and just, yeah, I love seeing the kids. I know in the film we talked with Flip Pallett, who's huge on the East Coast. I mean, Flip Pallett's one of the most highly respected guides on the East Coast. He's huge, and Walter K. Chronicles was his show for years, and he said one of the things that he fears the most is that if we don't get youth more engaged in the sport, and we don't teach them and give them the opportunity to fall in love with the sport, if you don't love something, it won't be protected. And in 2 or 3 generations, we could see it all go away. So Flip Pallett says the same thing. It's so important to get the young people involved, get them turned on to the sport at an early age, and let them fall in love with it. And if you fall in love with something, you're going to take care of it and you're going to protect it for years to come. And that's the most important thing, I think, in the whole message of the film is to get your kids out there fishing. Dave, you did a great video. One of the funniest videos I've ever seen about taking kids fishing for the first time, and how you get back from the dock. You make sure it's a day no matter what, and the word no doesn't come up during the day, and then you take them. What did you say? You take them to McDonald's. Oh, how did you end up that show? When you tell the kids that when you drive through McDonald's and you give it to them afterwards, you say, "This is the fish you just caught." I don't know if I lost you there or what's up, but anyway.
Oh, there you go. I'm sorry. Yeah. And I tell them that throw those chicken McNuggets in the bag, go home and let your kids take a shower and get ready. Throw those chicken McNuggets on the table and tell them it's their fish. And they'll love fish for the rest of their lives. It's all about when you take your kids fishing, it's got to be all about them. Couple hours at a time. That's it. Take them home when the fish are biting. Don't keep them out there when it's slow and boring. And if the fish are biting wide open, tell them, hey, I promised you guys we wouldn't be out here this long. We're going to go home. We'll come back and do it again another day. And if they're begging you to stay,
that's what you want.
You won the lottery, but still don't stay. Take them home. That way they're going to wake up tomorrow and beg you to take them fishing again.
Yep. And you said it doesn't matter if you're catching a mackerel or a little sand bass. It doesn't matter. That is the most important fish of their lives right there. Every fish they have on the line is the most important fish of their lives. And just make sure they recognize it, how special that is. And, and I think also teach good techniques, your catch and release techniques, CPR, catch, photograph, and release. Teach these kids early on that, take what you're going to use what you take, and release the rest.
Absolutely. It's the greatest motto in the world. It works phenomenal. I mean, I laugh and joke and talk about kill, 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 but it's my stick. It's fun. I never tell anybody take what's not legal, and it's okay to take a fish home and eat it. You're not a criminal.
Absolutely.
But
yep.
we just talk about trying to have as much fun as we possibly can when we take our kids fishing and make it the greatest day of their lives.
Yep.
The day you take your children fishing should be the day you don't use the word no.
Yep.
Don't use the word no. There's no reason for that. There's enough no's and there's enough negative in the world. We don't need to be negative.
Yeah, and it's John Stanley just wrote in that his grandfather won a jackpot when he was with a sand bass when he was a kid. So, I mean, the memories that I have as a child, I think, are very similar to what you have, Dave. And your first and earliest memories of your dad, it's my dad, you know, and being able to watch what my dad and your dad and grandparents did and how they did it, and be able to learn from them. You know, I've never felt so much pride in my life as I think when I caught my first trout, you know, and it was like, oh my God, I just went out of my mind. So, you know, and that was all because of parental support and neighbor support. We had some neighbors that would take me out too and fish. It's our jobs, guys. It's our jobs to pass the baton to our children and to our neighbors' children. And,
yeah, it's super important. It is one of the most important things, but we got a few minutes left here. I'm going to let Michael talk to all of you guys. If you have anything that you can't understand about this docuseries or how it all works, I just want to drive this home. We got about 10 minutes. I'm going to let Michael just talk to you. I'm not going to interrupt you for the first time in a long time, but I just want you to talk to everybody and let them understand this docuseries and understand that if you guys need to find out how it all works, you can call me. I'll screen the calls. I'm not going to give you Michael's personal phone number until I talk to you and find out you're cool or not. But Michael works just like I do. We want to make sure that you understand. We don't want to rip you off. And the $50, that's not going to save Michael and Kim. They're not going to be able to eat lobsters every night, but it's going to make sure that they have some gas and some water and some food, and you're going to have a great docuseries. So just talk to everybody and let them know how this whole thing works so they got a better understanding so they're not confused. I know John Stanley gets confused very easy, but
I'm in the same boat, John.
Go ahead. Let them know.
I get in the bathroom and I get confused why I even went in there. Sometimes I forget what I went in there for. Yeah, anyways, it's the subscription thing is a little awkward. It says a subscription, which it is, annually renewable. But like I told you, John, earlier, if you sign up, you subscribe, part of your money is going to go to conservation. We're donating back a substantial percentage of every purchase to conservation, CCA, ASA, IGFA, Trout Unlimited, Bonefish Tarpon and Trust, Friends of Rallo, just, you know, Jim Hand's group there. Anything that we can do to help support the industry, part of that money is going back into conservation. And also, like we said, as soon as you sign up and you get registered and you're approved, then you can go ahead and immediately cancel. So you don't have to worry about it. And you know you've got it for a year. So it'll be yours for a year, 24/7 on any app, any way you want to screen it. You can cast it to your big screen TV. If you've got a smartphone, a smart TV, you can just cast it right to your big screen. And in the meantime, we're working hard on trying to get it all approved and technically up to speed for Amazon. And it could be within a month or so, we'll be able to have it right on Amazon as well. So go to Apple Play or Google and get it too. So, you know, it's, I think we've talked about this before. The film has always been a dream of mine to make. And I had it in the back of my mind for years and years and years. I've been collecting old tackle since the beginning of time. I've always loved historical fishing films and historical fishing photographs. And when I got my hands on, 40, 50,000 feet of historical films over the years, it was all starting to rot. The celluloid was all going bad. So if we didn't digitize it, if we didn't preserve it, it would have been lost or could have been lost forever. And some of the films that we were able to digitize were 1926, 1924, 35 millimeter films, the original 35 millimeter films from Zane Grey, showing him catching the first 1,000-pound marlin ever caught on a rod and reel. We have that on film. So, and just spectacular footage dating back even over 100 years of some of the first fly fishing film ever shot and some of the first bass fishing that was ever recorded. So we've got some beautiful pieces of film all donated to to this series by the IGFA, Bass, Trout Unlimited, American Museum of Fly Fishing, Santa Barbara Maritime Museum, and the local fishing clubs here, San Diego Rod and Reel Club, the LA Tuna Club, the Avalon Tuna Club, Balboa Angling Club, West Palm Beach Fishing Club, clubs from up and down the both coasts and across the country have all donated from their archive. So we've really been able to put together a composite of the entire sport as seen from an American's point of view. I really loved weaving the first colonists into the film, and as that evolved and the Transcontinental Railroad was completed, and how the sport evolved from what was once an act of survival, where if you didn't know how to hunt, fish, and farm, there was a chance you weren't going to survive. So it was a primary necessity to know how to fish back in the day. And and the fascinating story is to watch how it evolved from an act of survival and how it evolved into a sport, and how that sport has evolved into what it is today. And it's phenomenal. The Bisbee, the black and blue, and the HIBT, and the big tournaments on the East Coast. Hundreds of thousands of participants are competing on saltwater tournaments as well as across the freshwater spectrum of tournaments. So, you can pick up a cane pole, a bobber, and a worm and catch bass off the side of a bank and have a great day. Or you can get in a state-of-the-art bass boat and cruise across the lake at 75 miles an hour and have a great day. So satisfying any of your needs for competition. But the sport itself is I feel like it was really, I did the very best I could to capture the essence of the sport in the film. I think we've done a good job, and I appreciate all your support, and keep letting your buddies know.
Yeah, that's all we can ask you guys to do is just remember, when you're renting that next video on Amazon or wherever you're renting it at, just remember, wait a minute, I could have been watching the history of sport fishing.
Yeah,
instead of watching some woke crap.
When the grandkids come over, I can cast it from my phone to the TV.
Yeah, it's a pretty spectacular thing, gang. Tonight, Justin's going to be live again if the weather permits. They're calling for some weather, but he's going to be fishing in the harbor. I don't know if you guys watched last night or not. He had 3 lobsters over 5. I think 3 of them over 7 pounds. It was pretty spectacular to watch those big monsters coming over. It wasn't wide open like it normally is, but he had some monster lobsters last night. It was fun to watch. Try to watch that tonight if you can. He's going to go live probably around 7:30. Now with the time change, it doesn't get dark until about 7:30, almost 8 o'clock. So, which is cool because we like to be outside and we like the sun. It just makes it for a long night of hoop netting when you're Dave Hansen sitting down here editing and watching this show. I have to stay up with all of you. Last night he got done at midnight. I was annihilated.
And that's after the PSA show for 4 days.
Yeah, we flew home yesterday afternoon, got to our house at 6 o'clock, and then started the show at 7:30. So
up till midnight.
I was a little tired this morning, but I'm here.
This podcast stuff is easy, isn't it, Dave?
Oh yeah, it just does it all by itself. Yeah. Yep.
Anybody can have a podcast.
Yeah, and pump out 3 brand new videos every single day. Put up a picture every morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. All that stuff's easy. What did they say? One of the haters said, "Oh, you just got lucky." Yeah. Yep, luck. That's all it is. I don't know what I'm doing.
For those that work their asses off.
Yep. And then one thing, Michael, all your the people that helped you make the show. One thing I want you all to understand, those of you that are watching that helped Michael put together, your supporters, your investors, whatever, that Pacific Coast Sport Fishing Show, the head of marketing for that show is a guy named Elliot. Okay? The head of marketing for your saltwater guide with my 800,000 plus followers is Elliot. If you're having a problem figuring out why it ain't working, maybe you need to let go and let Elliot. You know who else did that? Let go and let Elliot, a guy named Anthony Shea. So I'm just trying to tell you guys, if you really get down there and you look, why is this not working? Because you're trying to take care of something that none of us know anything about. We don't know anything about social media, but you know who does?
Mr.
Elliot.
Yep.
Michael, I love having you on the show. I love that we get to work together all the time. We've been together for such a long time doing this great stuff. And John Stanley, Michael and I'll go dig down the rabbit hole and we'll go try to find some of that old footage we made of the Calico Bass Classic back in the day when we used to do those bass fishing tournament, Calico Bass. There's some cool old stuff with my old mullet that I had back in the 80s. There's some cool old stuff. We'll find it. We'll dig it out. We'll find it. There's some cool old videos of Todd Manser too that Michael has when Todd looks like he's about 10 years old running the Sum Fun. And then there's all kinds of cool stuff out there. But gang, if you're having a problem with marketing and you want to know why it all works so well, there's a guy named Anthony Shea who's done pretty well for himself. He uses Elliot Andrews. So if he's using Elliot Andrews, there might be something to that.
Yeah, he can afford any ad agency in the world. And I think he actually tested an agency up in LA for a couple of months and went back to Elliot and said, Elliot, you've got to do it. Nobody's doing it better than you are.
Nope.
No. Tip my hat to that young man and his new wife.
He's an amazing person. And Bill DePriest and Elliot teamed up together. Look at what happened. Unbelievable. It's just incredible. Yep. And thank you very much, everybody, for watching. Thanks for all the kind words. Thanks for showing up to the PCS show and supporting Kelly Girl and I, and everybody that came out to have dinner with us Saturday night. I know it was hard to find us. Those of you that didn't find us, I'm sorry. We'll try to make it way easier next year. We'll have a map. At least we know where it's going to be at next year. That little camping area out there worked out so good. We were so worried it was going to be packed, Michael. There was only 3 motorhomes and a 20 motorhome spot in the back of the parking lot.
Perfect spot for a barbecue.
Oh, it was wonderful. It was a little chilly, but it was okay. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. Thanks for watching this every Tuesday with Michael. We appreciate it. And if you got any questions, give me a call at 949-374-0786. There's no reason y'all shouldn't have this docuseries in your repertoire to show all your friends and family. Thank you very much, Michael. Have a great day. Turn off the news. They're all lying. This is the only place